Have you ever taken advice from someone and then realised that was really not the best move to take advice, or actually it was quite bad advice? Well, today I'm going to talk about this, and if you stay until the end, I have an extra point that you'll want to stay around for then as well. I really want to talk about this because sometimes that advice that someone gives us is actually more harmful than good. I've had people talk to me and made me feel a lot worse, particularly when I've been in some very low points. I remember, when was it? Like, well over a year ago, and I was in a real down point. I'd gone through a few career things, personal relationship things, financial things in the past, and then spoke to someone very close to me. And then I remember my anxiety at the time getting significantly worse from what they said to me. Whilst I do genuinely believe that we're responsible for our own emotions and regulating them, part of that responsibility, yes, does involve doing using tools like maybe like journaling, breath work, whatever you use practically to help your emotions, or screaming or releasing things or exercising. There also comes a responsibility to know where to put yourself in terms of environments and around people, and where not to. I've realized. And actually, sometimes talking to someone can make you feel a lot worse. And how I kind of think of this is like, maybe you've gone to the gym, right? Let's use an analogy. All right, you go to the gym and you do a good workout. Maybe you kill it on the treadmill like I do. You like go full pace, although last time for some reason it didn't go as quick. But anyway, all right. So you go and then you go to like a fast food place and eat like a massive pizza and like a large portion of chips, which is nothing wrong with doing that time and time again. And then you felt good, and then suddenly you felt worse. Well, it's the same with some people. Maybe you go and listen to some personal growth. You go on the walk and you're like, oh, that's really good. Maybe you're listening to this podcast right now and you're like, I feel really relatable. I feel really clear on what I need to do. And then you go and have a conversation with someone who's very negative. What happens is the effects you've just given, the positive effects, actually go back and you feel not so good. Like with the physical example, you go to the gym, you do some good work, and you feel really energetic, and suddenly you feel very depleted after you've eaten your massive pizza and large portion of chips, right? Did I say chips or fries? I swear I'm going more and more into my American colleagues' nature. Anyway, so that's what I find with speaking to some people who feel a lot worse. And what I've realized is when I've been in some very low points, is I've always been like, right, okay, I just want to talk to anyone. But then even in those worst points, I started to get to a point where I was like, right, I can't talk to that person because I feel worse. So if I talk to that person, I feel worse. I'm like, actually, I can talk to them because they're very neutral and they're very good at listening, right? Now, the thing is, everyone loves and to give their opinion, right? Well, some more than most, right? Of course, some people are quite quiet. Some people are very good at listening and being non-judgmental, right? But generally, a lot of people like to give their opinions, right? They love to give their opinions, right? I mean, I'm giving my opinions right now, where you can choose to listen or dismiss it. But ultimately, what I'm trying to do is just share my journey, my men's mental health. And if you can relate to it, if some of these points help you, again, I'm not a mental health professional, but if any of these are useful, you can take them forward with you, right? I want to ask you this though: how does it feel when maybe you speak to someone who's not giving the best advice and you feel worse, and that's constantly happening? Well, it's probably quite depleting. It's quite probably energy sucking if you're anything like I've experienced, right? So here's just some practical points on this, because I believe that sometimes no advice is is better than bad advice. The first thing to really understand is know what you want, not what you don't want. What do you know? What do you want, right? So if you're like, right, I really want to feel like energetic. I really want to feel like peaceful, and peaceful, and I really want to feel joyful and excited. Right? That's great. You've got like kind of a focus there. Now, then you're like, okay, I want to do this. And then maybe you share someone and someone starts giving you advice. Oh, you need to do this, this, and this to be happy, right? Now, ask yourself, is that person credible? Now, how do you know if they're credible or not? I often like to see their results, whether, and if we flip this to like a business sense, I like to think, okay, are you getting results further along the line than me, or getting results that I would quite like? Yeah, even in business, if they're not like a multi-millionaire, but if they're earning like six figures and they're giving me some guidance, or like seven or closer to seven figures, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to listen to them because they're further along, right? And they know what they're talking about, right? So yeah, like, is the person credible? So ask yourself that. Are they genuinely happy? I remember a lot of my single friends give me advice about dating relationships, yet they were single, and I listened to them, and I shouldn't have. So really paying attention to actually what's the person's result. And then it's about learning to say, okay, I appreciate your insight, but no, thank you, right? And sometimes, yeah, people with big egos might get a bit like defensive, but ultimately it's about looking after you. And if you can't look after you, you can't look after other people as effectively. So think about that. And then the third point is learn your boundaries, right? What's a yes and what's a no? Like, when will you listen to someone and when will you not? Ultimately, learning those boundaries is really key, I found, in what I'm taking in, what I'm learning from other people. Because like, at the moment, I'm in a place where I'm trying to do a lot less hustle, even though I'm making a load of podcasts this weekend. That's more of a kind of flow, like creativity that's within me. But like, there's some things out there where there's a lot in the personal growth space where it's like hustle, 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 work so hard. And yeah, you do have to work towards what you want 100%, right? Whether it's career, business, relationship, whatever it is, right? But like, I know what I need right now is to kind of go into a more creative place. And I'm learning a lot from a guy called Peter Sage, and it's really, really good, who resonates a lot. It's more about like aligning yourself to life rather than fighting it. So learning those boundaries in terms of what you can say yes to from people and no to from people. And my extra point I really want to share, that I said to share at the end, is find time alone every day for like at least 10 minutes. Find time to just sit with yourself, because what I found is when I sit with myself, I usually got the guidance for myself anyway. I genuinely believe you have the guidance for you as well. You probably just have too much noise going on in the mind that's drowning out that inner wisdom that's coming from your heart. And when I listen and know from my heart, that creates a drive and energy more than anything. Unfortunately, though, when we're like in challenging places, the mind can really take over and drown out that heart. So finding time alone is really, really effective, just to sit with yourself. No phone. If you need to time it, find a stopwatch or something. And then just see what guidance comes up for you. Ask yourself a question, write it down if you need to, and see what comes up for you. So that's what I got for you today. I wanted to share that on my second episode of the Men's Mental Health and Growth podcast. So I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people in your life by working on yourself as a man. And remember, lead with heart, not with fear.